Hey, it's Rebecca. I am so glad you're here. You made it to the first masterclass with Naturally Strong. This is the foundation class to gut health. You know, if you don't have your gut health, you don't really have anything. No energy, no clarity of mind. Oh man, I'm so excited for you to feel better.
Hey you guys, it's me Rebecca. I'm back to teach you some really cool stuff about how to take care of your guts. You probably have heard the saying, you are what you eat. Well, I'm going to tell you tonight that you are what you digest, and that's not always the same thing. So I prepared for you tonight a whole bunch of different things that you can do yourself at home in order to give yourself the healthiest digestion. Everyone good with that? Okay, sweet. Here's my notes for the night. Okay. Oh, let me pass out these sheets. Nikki, will you show the camera those sheets?
Let's see.
So every class that is a continuing education master class has these sheets that you get for coming. And if you want one of these, then please do message me. And I will send you the file, and you'll have to print it though. Okay, so here you guys both can have one of those. And you also can have one of these. So this class, as well as a lot of the other classes in this master class, fit into one of 7 categories for optimal health. Like, it's really important that you're balanced in 7 different areas. And if you're not, then if one area of health is totally always struggling, then you may never experience abundant health. So this class fits into the very bottom, the biggest foundation. If you're not eating well, how can your body make up its own building blocks? It can't. It has to make up building blocks from what you feed it. So here we are learning about the good stuff. Okay, focus, Rebecca. So this class fits into the red foundation of your continuing education. I'm going to tell you 3 things that you need to know about healing your gut. Okay, first thing, we gotta put the good stuff in. We gotta make sure we keep the bad stuff out. And finally, we need to heal, and sometimes that means using special remedies, and sometimes that means special lifestyle techniques, and that's gonna be different for every gut. Make sense to you guys?
Yep.
So recap, 3 things to heal your gut: good stuff in, bad stuff out, and heal.
I like it.
It's pretty short and
Simple.
sweet, right? Yes, simple. Okay, so when you have healthy digestion, it's more than just a lack of pain. It is that your body should have good stocks of energy. It's like dragging through the day is a sign that your digestion isn't the best. You should have excellent mental clarity. And brain fog is another sign that your digestion isn't the best. And then lastly, you shouldn't have aching and pain, and anything that's an itis can be traced back to what you're eating that's contributing to the problem of inflammation. So healthy digestion equals energy, mental clarity, and less pain and less malfunction in your whole body in every system.
Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't want that, right? Exactly. So I will try to focus what I teach you on stuff that everyone can do, but I will drop little hints on if you're in serious need of help, like the above and beyond things that you can do if you need to do them for serious healing, supercharged healing. Do you guys have any questions or thoughts?
Not so far.
Not so far. Okay, this is good. All right, so on the section of putting the good stuff in, anything that I'm going to classify as good has to do with your probiotic balance in your tummy. So flora, what do you think of when you think of the word flora, if you've heard that word before?
Good germs.
Good germs. And?
I don't know. I guess that's where I've heard it. They have it on probiotic bottles and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's where I've seen it before.
Well, flora, in my mind, like flora and fauna, it has to do with like the trees and the shrubbery. So I'm like going through a forest in my mind, and there's like trees, and there's like dangly overhanging shrubs, and there's plants growing out from the bottom, right? Like there's multiple layers of plant life in beautiful flora. So in our guts, it's the same concept that there's an ecosystem. There's multiple layers, multiple levels, different kinds, different species of flora in our gut that make up the human body.
We have a forest.
Yes, we have a forest in our gut all
That
the
is
time.
so cool.
And every species is important. And if you walk down that forest road and there was only pine trees, it would not be a beautiful, thriving forest, would it? No, and species of animal life would not be able to thrive either because they all need a flora. So in our gut, it's the same. We need a flora of healthy activity, lots of species, in order to help us digest the best. So flora is king. So when we consider what is good, what should I put into my body, the answer is based on, is it good for my flora or does it hurt my flora? Mm-hmm. So we want to like develop the species that are in our gut, right? We don't want like the same 8 that are in our yogurt. We want like literally hundreds. So studies have been done. Oh, I'm gonna nerd out on you. I'm so sorry, but stick with me.
Love it.
This is important. There's been studies done on folks that deal with obesity or serious inflammation, like different categories of health, and they will have consistently missing flora. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, the certain ones, like insane ones.
So most folks that have, let's say, autoimmune issues, they're missing a whole category of flora.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And
so we need to make sure to get everyone that you need.
Everyone that we can. It's not like there's petri dishes of there's hundreds. So the healthiest guts on Earth have like 1,200 species. Most Americans have like maybe 300.
Oh,
and if I know, right? If you've experienced anything that you needed an antibiotic medication for in the last little while, you probably have 100 or less. And so that's what we're talking about here. You can just within a few days, like literally within 2 meals, change what flora is thriving. Because, I mean, how fast do bacteria reproduce?
Pretty quickly.
Yeah. Every couple hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Every couple hours. So a couple of meals, and you're going to grow certain populations and shrink certain populations based on what you eat, based on how you felt that day, based on what your gut was experiencing. So just the good news is, even if your gut sucks right now within just 2 meals, you can increase the positive growth.
Cool.
It is so cool. It's empowering. So, so realize when we're talking about flora, the more species, the better. The more competition there is, the more the species are kept in check. When we have lower limited species, that's when it's easy for an opportunistic, like a threatening kind of bacteria to come in and take everything out. Like, so what the best thing that we can do is diversify the population, feed our tummies things that promote good bacteria growing better populations, stronger on the healthy bacteria. And we want things that are always in our tummy, like yeast and parasites. Like everyone, realistically, we all have some level of those things all the time. So we need a healthy balance of good bacteria and like a super low balance of all of the rest of those. And it's when our bacteria levels are low, our healthy bacteria is low, that's when there's too much yeast. That's when we get an overgrowth of the other things that cause problems in our body. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay, so what is good? What foods are good? What should we be putting in? Good stuff in. So food-wise, we're talking about foods that are high in fiber, high in omega-3s, and have an excellent pH balance. So that's going to be greens, vegetables, G-bombs! What? Nikki knows me. She knows what I'm going to say next. Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, and nuts. Those are going to be the things that influence. They have enough fiber in them. They have healthy, large carbohydrate chains that are going to influence the right gut bacteria growing healthy. Does that make sense, everyone? We also need to constantly massage that forest with our fiber so that we pull out the weeds as we go. Maybe I'm getting too
No,
weird
it's a good
with
analogy.
the
I like
analogy.
it. It works.
It's really helping me out.
Okay, good.
Never
need
thought of my
pictures.
gut as a forest.
I
I
hope
can
that
respect that.
think of healthy gut and you think of a big thriving rainforest.
Yeah,
next time.
And I'm going to forever now.
I used to think
Awesome.
that guts were gross. And so this is helping me to think that it's beautiful.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So let's nurture our rainforest.
Yeah, nurture the
We're
rainforest.
going to nurture that rainforest with G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, nuts, and seeds. Thank you. There was something else there was one missing piece I was going to add in there.
What we were getting rid of.
Oh, yes. So things that we get rid of. Hormones that should be, like hormones should have a lifetime in our body, and then they should be done after a certain period. So like some hormones it's like 2 hours, some hormones it's like 12 hours, and some hormones it's a couple of days. And when those hormones don't get shoved out of the body with fiber that picks stuff up from the liver and takes it right down the river in your rainforest, right to the toilet bowl. If you don't have enough fiber, those hormones will recirculate, which is going to cause havoc in a lot of different ways.
Whoa.
I know, it's heavy, seriously. Hold on, where is that going? Oh yeah, a healthy human body will have like 40 to 50 grams of fiber in their diet in a day. Most Americans get less than 20. So that means a whole bunch of hormones that are still circulating, and fat that's building up, and yeast that's overloading. Like, this is how we take care of our guts, with those good things that we're putting in. If you eat all of those things, you will have fiber, you will have a good pH, you will have good omega-3s. Okay. I can teach you so much more about that in another video. That's for another day. The second thing that we need to think about, when, like the key to a healthy gut, is we want the bad stuff to stay out. So when I say bad stuff, I mean anything that's going to hurt your flora, your rainforest in there. And most of you can probably guess what they are. Like, most of us know the things that we eat that are bad for us, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to spend an hour lecturing you about that. I would just say anything that is processed. So we got grains that are not whole grains, meats that are processed, and sweets that are processed sweeteners. So all of those things expand and explode different parts of our flora in different ways. It's not healthy for our bodies. So we might see an overloading amount of yeast if our guts are used to getting a steady supply of too much processed food, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that most of our tummies don't handle well is oil, like straight up olive oil, even some coconut oil. Anything that's like processed oil, like safflower oil, canola oil, those things we've been taught to believe that are heart healthy, they're actually not. And it's consumed in any large quantity, meaning large, like more than a tablespoon at a time, is hurting our guts. And when we eat more than a tablespoon at a time, it makes it so our body has more than our liver can handle, more than our gallbladder puts out.
It's overworking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have a gallbladder, so it's probably working really hard.
Yeah. Bad stuff out. We're still on this category. Of course, we want to avoid the foods, at least for a short time, especially if we're in a healing situation. We need to heal. Something's really bothering us. It's been bothering us for a while. It's getting to the point that we can't live our lives around it very well. That's when we need to take a step back, make sure the good stuff is going in, and make sure we're taking a break from anything that's going to hurt it. All the processed stuff, like I just said. Another category of things to consider keeping out is anything that's going to make your gut sensitive. So any foods that you're sensitive to. And it's really difficult to tell what your gut is sensitive to. Like, do you have any food allergies? I don't know. It's inflamed and angry at everything that passes through. So how can I tell if it doesn't like eggs or corn? I can't tell. Everything is coming out the other end too fast, right?
Right.
So it's the top allergens are these, and you can cut them out and just see how better you feel. And if these don't help you, then I really recommend seeing a practitioner who's going to help you figure out your food sensitivities. So those are going to be the top food allergies: wheat, corn, soy, eggs, and dairy. And peanuts, sorry. Those are the top 6. So if you suspect that it's grumpy all the time, don't just think that you're broken. This is the message, the healing message that I want everyone out there to hear. Don't just think that you're broken because your tummy hurts all the time. realize that there are reasons that your tummy hurts. It's dealing with something it doesn't like on a constant basis. And if we take things out that might be bothering it, you're going to see inflammation levels go down, and it might take up to 6 months. But healing on the other side of that 6 months can be beautiful and is so worth it, especially if you're experiencing it on a daily basis. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that encourage you?
Absolutely.
Okay. I hope that those that are watching, that if someone tagged you and they're like, oh, you have IBS, you should watch this video. I hope that what you're hearing from me is there's a reason that your gut is in trouble, and we can figure it out. So keeping the bad stuff out and dealing with food sensitivities are the biggest things. The next big thing that can be damaging your tummy is eating too much food. So even if you're eating really good food, but it's more than your body can handle, it takes, let's say this amount is how much your tummy can handle at a time. And it can make enzymes to digest this much. And it can make insulin to help your body store this much food. If you eat more than this much food, you're not going to have enough enzymes to digest it. You're not going to have an appropriate blood sugar response to it. And you're not going to absorb all of the good stuff that you're putting in. So don't think, oh, I have to slam this whole smoothie until I'm literally feeling pukey. Slam this much smoothie. And then a couple hours later, when that's out of your tummy and you're not, verping it back up, eat this much smoothie again. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so all of the things that we want to avoid, the bad stuff out. Processed foods, triggering food sensitivities, and then over this much food at a time. And this is not a literal amount, I'm just showing you an example.
Should be the palm of your hand.
Yeah. If there is stuff coming back up, there's too much stuff in there. Okay. Good stuff in, bad stuff out. The third thing we're going to talk about is different things that you can add in to heal. So let's say you have a pretty lightweight stomach problem. You don't think that you have anything diagnosable, but you still experience tummy trouble from time to time. Good. I'm going to tell you things that you can add in to help it make it better. And maybe you're on the other end of that where your tummy is always a problem. There's always something going on. Good. I'm glad you're listening. I'll teach you some things you can do just to see if it helps. And I would be really surprised if it didn't. Okay, so we're going to talk about the different parts of the digestive system going through that tunnel, through our forests, and different support that you can give each area of your digestive tract. You done with that? So, if you're not eating greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, nuts, and seeds every day, then you're going to have some holes in your nutrition. And if that is something that you're worried about, and we probably all should be worried about that, then Doterra has an excellent answer, and that's called the Life on Vitality Pack. It's a set of 3 bottles that give you all of your minerals and vitamins that your body needs in a day, all of your omegas, remember I said that was important for gut health, all of your omegas that your body needs in a day, and also anti-inflammatory soothing herbs that can help relieve some of the issues that crop up when our tummies are constantly slammed with things that bother it. So it's an excellent set, and Doterra gives you a guarantee that you'll have more energy and less pain if you try it. So it's absolutely worth trying it and seeing if you don't feel better. So that's the very first thing. Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked. I was going to go through the pieces of the digestive tract. Digestive system pieces. Number 1. Our mouth. This isn't on your sheet, and I was so bummed about this. So you'll have to scribble this in to your sheet. Okay, so your mouth is super important. It's the very first place that we put stuff in where bacteria can be a problem, right? Mm-hmm. So Doterra supports a healthy mouth into some products and some oils that I'll give you some recipes for. So number 1 is our awesome toothpaste. Who loves the toothpaste?
I love toothpaste.
Uh-huh. I know it, right?
Like, for real.
On guard. So effective at killing germs that shouldn't be in there. So the next good news that probably most of you watching don't know about this because it's pretty new. There's a toothpaste. Thanks for that background music. Most of you watching probably don't know about this. This is On Guard. Mouthwash. So after you rinse and spit out that toothpaste and all the On Guard goes down the drain, then you can rinse and make sure that you're getting in between all of the stuff, all of the areas where germs like to hide in your mouth. So if you've ever had serious tooth problems, a good dentist or dental hygienist will tell you that it can cause other digestive problems. So we want to start in the mouth. All right, peeps. All right. Here's my cool recipe for us. If you've got just oils at home, this is what you can do to have really healthy, beautiful gums. Like this.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, 3 oils that are so effective at helping to kill germs, nourish the tiny, tender skin that is your gums, and also relieve pain if there is discomfort in your gums. Clove, myrrh, and wintergreen. Birch if you have it, but wintergreen if you don't. Those 3 oils is what I use to regrow a recessed gum line.
I remember.
You remember me talking about that?
And I needed that recipe because I need it.
Okay. Yeah. So I did oil pulling with those 3 oils. Dana, can you grab some pens out of my bag so we can take notes? And yeah, it wasn't there the next time I went in, and the hygienist was like, "I don't know what happened," but oil pulling is what I use to reverse that.
All right.
And normally that's irreversible.
Yes.
Skin
right.
grafts, they've told me.
Those skin grafts.
That's
for
what
gums?
they told me.
Wow.
But
That
I would
sounds
rather
intense.
oil pull.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
let's do it.
Thanks, baby. Passing out over here.
You're awesome. Thank you.
I've also used that for, you know how sometimes your gums are just irritated, like you ate something that, like, let's say you're sensitive to pineapple, you ate a lot of pineapple and they hurt. I've used that like every time, just putting it on my finger and just rubbing it around my gums like this.
Right.
You can put it on your toothbrush and rub it on all over your teeth and gums with your toothbrush.
Did you say the toothpaste? No.
I'm talking about myrrh and
The
clove.
oil.
and wintergreen.
Got it.
Yeah, and so I put all of those 3 into a bottle and it sits next to my toothbrush, and I use that every night.
And is it diluted?
It's not diluted, but you could totally dilute it.
Okay.
It's intensely burny, and I like it.
Minty fresh.
Minty
Intensely
clovey fresh. Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
So the next area is the esophagus, and most folks struggle with the esophagus because of acid. So acid that comes back up out of the stomach, right? So acid is a huge topic. Most people will be referred to this video because they produce too much acid, they think, and so they take antacids for that, right? So I'm going to give you some troubleshooting hints so that you can understand how to deal with acid, because if we don't have appropriate acid levels in our stomach, guess what? That's where a lot of digestion happens, and that's where you're going to be missing, your digestion will be hindered after your stomach if there wasn't an appropriate level of acid. So you're always going to experience trouble there. Okay, here's some things we can do to deal with acid levels. Number 1 is if you feel like it's never-ending acid all the time, then I would totally take a day to stop and fast. Empty out that stomach, make sure we're starting with absolutely a clean slate, and do a 1-day fast first. Okay. After your 1-day fast, the next thing that we're going to do is a tonic, which I will teach you, which I feel like everyone that has any tummy trouble should totally try this. It's warm water and half a squeezed lemon, 2 drops of lemon oil, 2 drops of peppermint oil. Those things can help keep healthy acid levels in your stomach. Now, I know some people listening are going to be like, oh, lemon is an acid, don't put that in there. Actually, lemon juice first thing in the morning can help stimulate your stomach to make all of the right enzymes and peptides so that you are having an appropriate level of acid. And if everything's not activated in your stomach, that's when we get these imbalances that cause heartburn. Make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. The second thing, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Okay, thanks for bringing that up. And some folks, it's good to know your body. You're going to know it better
for
than
sure.
I do.
Yeah, you get to know it by doing these different things.
Exactly. So let's say you try lemon and you feel like too much acid is too much for you. Another thing to try in that tonic, instead of lemon juice, you could switch out for vinegar, which again, it's another acid, but maybe your body responds better to apple cider vinegar. Yeah, does yours?
Apple cider vinegar is
Fantastic, totally.
Yeah.
Another thing you can try is peppermint tea instead of, so like I'm going to put that peppermint oil and lemon oil in a warm cup of peppermint tea instead. So maybe that's your body will respond better to the ingredients in that tea instead of lemon. But lemon's pretty easy to come by, so everyone try that first. The next thing that's really important is certain foods spark acid more than other foods. And don't throw rotten tomatoes at me, but dairy sparks acid more than any other food. So if you are constantly dealing with heartburn, dairy might be the thing for you. So just take it out for like a week, see what happens. Maybe some good stuff will happen. Maybe that's not your thing. See. The next thing you can do is you can eat smaller meals, because anything, remember we talked earlier about anything that's bigger than this, your tummy might not be able to hold it, and it's definitely not going to be able to spit enzymes at it fast enough to digest it. So maybe try smaller meals and eat more often if that suits your body better, and maybe it does. That we'll talk about is the stomach, and something that's soothing to both the esophagus and the stomach, like the best essential oil for the digestive system, I can't state this enough, is turmeric. So Tumeric Essential Oil Doterra now carries, it's only new in the last couple of years, and it's really, really soothing for all of those tissues. So to put that in a shot glass of water and drink that can like coat everything in a really positive way. You can start by gargling it, because then you like break it up into tiny little particles, because it's a thick oil, and it comes out in like great big globs, and then you'll get like, right there, there's a ton of turmeric right there. So instead of that, gargle it, and it will like, break it up better. So any kind of bleeding or sensitive or raw area that you're dealing with in those areas, try turmeric. Cool, huh?
Good job, Rebecca.
Yeah, it's the best. Okay. And then stomach, we've already covered acid really well. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about right there with the stomach is the liver and the gallbladder and the pancreas. So the pancreas is the organ that does all of the enzymes. And by the way, especially in our culture where we're like bred to overeat, we're like told constantly that we should eat more, or that like, oh, just a little bit, oh, you should have this, it's your birthday, whatever is the thing. We're totally taught to overeat. And when the pancreas has to constantly pump out more than enough for a common sized meal, enzymes, it's going to wear out quickly. When it's constantly having to produce more than enough glucose and insulin, then it's going to wear out quickly. And what we can do to take pressure off of the liver is to eat enzymes. So for some people, lemon juice is just enough of an enzyme, and only if it's fresh squeezed, by the way, from a bottle. It won't have any enzymes in it. For some people, eating a little bit of bitter greens before their meal is enough to make their body make an appropriate level for a good meal. So what does that look like, bitter greens? So it could look like a scoop of green, like have you seen those green drinks? Doterra carries one called Terrazyme, but I've seen
Terra Greens.
Terra Greens, thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
You just got my back,
I got you,
Kristen.
girl.
Okay, so Terra Greens is like a bitter green mix that you can use to stimulate appropriate enzyme response. And if you don't have that, then just like chewing on a little like leaf of spinach or a little arugula or a little kale, just like half a leaf before lunch. Give it a shot. It could stimulate those things naturally without having to take anything. So if you look at herbs as the thing that you take, then maybe you don't have to take a pill. If that doesn't help you and your body is still having a hard time, like especially if you eat something that's high in processed foods, then I definitely, this is my go-to thing that's in my purse, because I eat really well when I'm at home. It's when I'm on the road that I don't always have the best foods. So maybe I eat a lot of bread, or maybe I eat a lot of dairy, something snuck in that I don't normally eat. Terrazyme is a blend of a whole bunch of different kinds of enzymes that help break up food, so that your body doesn't have the pressure of, oh my gosh, now we have to make this much enzymes. Go ahead.
Does it also have the like breakdown of like alcohol?
Alcohol, no, not in here. But don't let me forget, I have
For the
something.
liver, though, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so the enzymes that are in here, amylase, lactase, lipase, galactosidase, cellulase, sucrase, and glucoamylase. So let me break all of that down for you. What that means is it breaks down fats, it breaks down carbs, it breaks down, dairy. So did you hear that in here?
Lactase,
Yeah, the lactase, so it's going to break it down dairy. So anyone that deals with dairy sensitivity that like literally can't stop eating cheese and it's their downfall, their doom, Terrazyme is a good thing to use at the same time. So when and how do you use it? In that meal. So let's say you ate something that had cheese in it and you know your tummy's going to be in trouble later. Take a Terrazyme with it. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pill you take? It's not a...
It's a soft gel. So it looks like
Oh,
this.
it's soft gel. Okay.
Yep.
It's a little
Dun, dun, dun,
Sure.
dun.
So
Well,
you just
I guess
take it
it's a
before you
capsule.
eat.
Oh, capsule.
You can take it before you eat. I think that's the best if you're doing like a proactive digestive system reboot. Or you can take it like, oh crap, I totally had too many of those jalapeno poppers. Then you can take one.
Which I've done.
Right after the fact.
Everybody does it.
Everybody does it.
So
I
go
do
ahead
it.
and just
Everyone totally
everybody,
does it.
yeah, everybody make sure you have this and you take them in the morning, at lunch,
And at night.
Nice.
Because most of us don't eat like Rebecca, let's just be honest.
When you're like,
Asparagus.
that's right.
Raw asparagus.
Annette knows.
Yes.
In my CNA class, she's like, what are you eating? You're gonna eat that raw? You're not gonna cook that?
But I started eating it because of you.
Yes.
That's the only way I eat it.
Victory. Victory. Asparagus raw, that's what she's talking about.
Certain foods have caused acid in my belly, where that helps with cold sores. The not getting cold sores.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
like
a
the sensitive-
case. That's so good to know.
Wow.
I have allergies really bad and cold sore.
So what they were saying, in case you didn't hear on the video, is when they're dealing with higher levels of allergies, that's when cold sores will make their appearance more often. And Kim said that she uses Terrazyme and it helps to
Cut down the acids in the belly,
cut down how much acid that
and
she's
that
feeling.
causes the
And so less mouth sores because of that.
Oh my
Good
goodness.
stuff.
That's
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Totally fantastic. Okay, I don't know if I covered the, anyways, this is meant to digest everything. Okay. So that will take pressure off of the liver and gallbladder. Another thing that will take pressure off of the liver, remember I told you that the liver has so many jobs, and one of those jobs is to cycle out hormones and medications. The liver is in charge of all of that, like filtering it out. We need you, we don't need you, leave the body, stay.
It's the sorter.
Yeah, it totally is. It has so many jobs, and so it's constantly under pressure. And so if we can help take some of the pressure off of that liver, even better. So some of the things that take pressure off of the liver, castor oil compresses. So Doterra makes an essential oil called Zendocrine, and I use that hand in hand with castor oil. So anyone out there that's listening that has gallbladder trouble, you're pretty darn sure, or you constantly hurt over here up underneath the right side of your ribs, there's like bloating there, your stomach's not over there. It shouldn't be bloated there. Your stomach's on the left side. So if you feel pain and pressure on the right side, that's a sign that your liver is under distress. So what I'll do is I'll take this oil that was
Your
made.
liver, not your gallbladder?
They go together.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
There's the liver and the gallbladder sits right there.
Okay, perfect.
And it can be either or.
Okay.
Good question. So if that is swollen and grumpy, there is a fantastic oil that doTERRA makes. It's a blend called Zendocrine, and it is made to take pressure off of cleansing organs like the liver, the gallbladder, and the skin. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. So what I do is I take Zendocrine oil and I add it to castor oil, which is already in itself super cleansing for the gallbladder and liver. And I'll do what's called a hot pack or a warm compress. So I'll take that combination of castor oil and Zendocrine and I'll rub it over my liver area like that. And then I'll put something warm on it to make it like really absorb well. Like, you know how after you get out of a bath and your skin is all pink and it absorbs super well?
Your
Sometimes better than you want it to.
pores are all open and
Your pores are all open, exactly. So when we put that warm compress on there, it is saying, absorb this, body. We want this right here. So just use a rice sock or a warm towel, and you're just gonna put it there every night at bedtime. So if that's your issue, Zendocrine, castor oil, warm compress. That's a good question. So
Yes.
the job of the gallbladder
Lots of
is just to
people.
hold the bile that's created, but your liver is still making the bile all the time.
Okay.
It just like drizzles out all the time instead of
It's
just
no
when you eat
storage
fats.
space.
Yeah, so the gallbladder holds it until you eat fats, and then it's stimulated to release it. So that's why once your gallbladder's been removed, eating fat is hard on you, because you only have little dribbles of that bile going through it at a time. Does that make sense? Okay, so using that compress will help because the liver gets backed up. It'll help the liver get back on top of its game. It'll actually help empty out gallstones if anyone's dealing with those. So that's like the coolest remedy ever.
Just topically,
Just
right
topically.
there. Hot stuff.
Zendocrine was the name of
Zendocrine
that?
is the name of that. And by the way, if you're one of those folks that when we talked about like the healthy foods that we're putting into our digestive system, if you're one of those folks that you like feel detox reactions when you do stuff, like let's say you're like, all right, I'm going to do a smoothie, and then you feel like pukey afterwards. Whatever, if you know you're prone to detox feelings, then the thing that I would recommend is Zendocrine in a capsule. So Doterra does make Zendocrine in a capsule. It's the oil that I was talking about earlier. It's a blend of like cilantro and geranium and lemon and oils. Tangerine, all helpful for the liver. This is not just oil; it is herbs that will also help take pressure off of the liver. So this is a mild detoxing agent. Do you love it?
Whenever I get a cold and bronchial, Zendocrine takes it away.
Interesting. So Zendocrine is another thing that can help clear out lymph. So if you're saying I have a cold and your lymph nodes are probably swollen, I can see how that would be effective. Isn't this interesting? The body works in lots of ways, right? Okay, so this is something I would make sure you have on hand if you're going to make some healthier choices and you know that detoxing is a thing for you. Okay. Another thing that's important to keep your liver healthy is flaxseed. And the reason I say flaxseed is because it's going to help your liver cycle out estrogens. So remember how earlier we said that human beings need like 40 to 50 grams of fiber a day in order to maintain healthy levels? So imagine how we're not getting enough fiber in our diets, only like 10 grams to 20 grams for most Americans. So we're not pushing out the estrogens out of our body like we should. So they're recycling, so we're higher in estrogen than we should be. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay, so taking flax seeds with your fiber, making sure you have enough fiber in your body, will help to grab onto and take away, like into the toilet with your flaxseed.
So should you grind your flax seeds, or should you just use them whole?
I would grind them.
What about
That's a good question.
flax oil?
Okay, so oil is going to be the same thing with, if you use straight up oil, your body has a harder time processing it. So just like with a tablespoon of olive oil, if you have a tablespoon of flaxseed oil, it's going to put pressure on your system. The exception I would make to that is doing like a teaspoon dose for someone that deals with any mental health issues, because flaxseed is an amazing source of omega-3s. Okay, so the next organ that we want to talk about is the small intestine. And the small intestine gets trouble with inflammation and with too much mucus. Both are problems, and we're going to talk about how to address them. So the first one, inflammation. Anything that we're eating that our body's sensitive to is going to create low-grade inflammation. And it's not enough usually to make you like have a huge inflammatory response and make you like on your pillow the next day. It's usually just enough to make you feel a little bit lousy. But if we're eating that all the time, we have no idea that that's what's causing it. And when I say that, I'm talking about food sensitivities, and everyone's body's specific, and I can't really help coach you through those. You'll have to talk to a practitioner. But low levels of inflammation in our small intestine create inflammation all over the body, right? Imagine your stomach, and we know that it has all of these layers of muscle, right? All of these different layers going different directions of muscle. And then you've got this gut and all of these membranes and all of these different like pieces that are like a meshwork in there. Let's say that one thing going through there is inflamed. Is that going to be the only thing that stays inflamed? No, not on a regular basis. Everything else is going to get grumpy too. That's like pulling one thread out of a tapestry and thinking that just that one thread is going to be bothered. Like, it's going to create a run, right? There's going to be damage that occurs to the whole tapestry.
Domino effect.
Yeah, a domino effect. So, how do we deal with inflammation in the small intestine? The first thing I want to say is turmeric. So turmeric we talked about for the stomach and the esophagus, and we talked about gargling it. But for the organs that come after the stomach, I'm going to recommend putting it in a capsule. Or Doterra already carries a capsule. So it looks like this, and here's the genius thing they did with turmeric. So I've been telling my massage clients for a long time, if you deal with inflammation, you've got to take turmeric. And I told them to go to the spice cupboard at the store and like buy the powder yellow spice turmeric and to eat it. And they would like hide it in their applesauce, and it would actually help feel better. I was recommending like a teaspoon, like large doses, a teaspoon a couple times a day. Here's the problem with that. There's so many curcumin, that's the active anti-inflammatory ingredient in, it's like the buzzword in health, right, in turmeric is curcumin. But it doesn't get absorbed very easily. So people that like cook with turmeric on purpose for the anti-inflammatory benefits, they always will tell you, you got to do black pepper with it or cilantro with it. Like, you have to mix up your spices.
Pull the benefits out.
Because there's something missing from turmeric to make it so your body will actually digest what's there. So like huge amounts just to get a little bit of relief. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing about what Doterra did is the oil doesn't really have a lot of those high curcumin levels, but it has tumerones, which is a different thing that's needed. So Doterra took tumerones and from the oil and powder from the turmeric plant and put them together, and now your body absorbs almost everything that's good in there. Now with a tiny dose, you're going to get amazing anti-inflammatory relief. So this is what these capsules look like, and I dare anyone to try to make them. They're tough. So it's got a tiny capsule on the inside, and it's got powder in it. Do you want me to hold that up like that?
Yeah, right layer.
There, awesome. And then you can also see the essential oil that's wiggling around in there, right? Yeah, so those two things together have made it so that our bodies will actually absorb tons of good stuff from the turmeric.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. So if your small intestine, large intestine are inflamed, turmeric. Dun, 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 dun. Let me see what else I have in my notes. Usually, inflammation in the gut doesn't end there. Like we said, it's going to make other things inflamed. That's where you can take other things, like if it's really common to have gut inflammation problems and then also to have fibromyalgia that accompanies it, or MS, or other autoimmune things that start, or arthritis. However it attacks your body, those things usually start in the gut. So when we use turmeric to resolve inflammation that's there, that can sometimes help in the gut but leave lingering symptoms in other places. So you want to be able to take an anti-inflammatory supplement that's going to get everywhere. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Deep Blue comes in you guys all know about Deep Blue for pain, right?
Got you.
Different people will respond to different kinds of anti-inflammatories. Maybe turmeric is your perfect thing. Maybe copaiba is your perfect thing. Maybe peppermint's your perfect thing. And I do have copaiba. Look, I remembered. So there's 3 different supplements. Thank you. There's 3 different supplements that can relieve inflammation, and you just have to use which one works for your body. And it might look something like this. Just a minute, Dana. Turmeric in the morning to help soothe and ease everything as it goes down, and copaiba at night when you're not eating to help relieve the inflammation that's there. So maybe it's a dual system for you.
Awesome.
Totally awesome. Okay. All right, that's inflammation. Let me check out my notes. The next thing is mucus. So mucus, there's a problem with mucus buildup. There's a problem with yeast buildup. Whenever we have allergies going on, not just our nose makes mucus, but our respiratory system and our digestive system all make more mucus. So when there's mucus coating that's too thick, we can't digest well, and it's not going to slide through well enough anyways. It's a problem. So dealing with...
I thought it was all in your head.
If you have it in your head, it's also in your gut.
It's in your
She's like crazy. I had no idea it was fibromyalgia.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Post-nasal drip.
Yes. So if you're constantly dripping up here, there's probably too much mucus down there. So what you can do is Terrazyme will help to digest and break up some of that mucus. And in that case, instead of taking it with a meal, I would take it on an empty stomach. So I would take it before breakfast in the morning. The other thing that you can do, and this is so awesome, is you can use oils that are hot to break up that mucus. So that would be oregano and thyme and clove and helichrysum. And
Helichrysum's not hot.
no, but it's intense and it's good at breaking up mucus.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so Doterra does make a supplement that
Is cilantro considered a hot oil?
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
it is pretty hot. Try that in capsules.
Sometimes if I make like a spaghetti,
You can
sort of
put a little
dish,
in
I'll
there.
put it in there, but
It's
other than
intense,
that,
though.
I'm not gonna put it in, in the freezer.
Right.
Cilantro is crazy hot, I think. Yeah.
It would be awesome in a foot bath with Epsom salts.
Oh, I could do that.
Totally do that. And
Cool.
then it would be good in an empty, you can get empty gel capsules and put them in there. Because like putting cilantro oil in your mouth is like, bam.
Well, I've done it on the tip of my finger and then just barely on my gums or under my tongue kind of thing, and it's not too bad. But
It's not too bad. But Dr. Hill recommends.
would be better.
Yeah, probably so, because cilantro chelates heavy metals, and you're gonna want like multiple drops in your body at a time. So
Oh,
like
okay.
3 drops several times a day would be better than just a little bit once. Going towards eating oregano, totally you can put it in a gel cap, but it won't really make it past your stomach. And that's because the acid in your stomach is going to break it open, and then it's not going to reach your small intestine. So there is such a thing as a capsule that does make it through there, and it's called an enteric coated capsule. And this is what they look like. They can be, doesn't matter, they don't have to be black, they could be multiple colors. But it's a thicker coating that is going to make it past your stomach acid, and it's going to break open in your small intestine where it needs to break up all of that mucus. I know, I wish we had air conditioning in here.
It's fine.
And it's going to help reduce that problem right there in your small intestine where it's needed. Okay, so hand in hand with this goes a probiotic. And remember earlier I said it's important to get more flora in our tummies, but the same 8 flora over and over and over again does not make it so that we can expand. So it's awesome to use a probiotic for a short period of time. So after taking something like this, it would be awesome to reseed your gut with some really healthy, really important probiotics for, like, that we know we need this one to be healthy, we need this one to be healthy, right?
Right.
It's not something that I take forever. Better would be,
Would you say that not the kefir, but the
yes, I know where you're going.
The drinks. What, the
Probiotic drinks.
Yeah. What are they
Kombucha.
called? The kombucha.
Kombucha,
How are you feeling about
Kivita.
those?
Yes.
Because
So
I love them, but do they really have all the health benefits? That's always a good question.
That's a perfect question. And this is perfectly timed because I was just about to say it's better to get wild probiotics in your tummy every day than it is to get the same 8 species over and over again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So after you do an antibiotic round, definitely take the probiotics and reseed. After you do something to wipe out the mucus in your gut, definitely take probiotics to reseed. But once you have reseeded with those 8, you need others. So what I'm saying is you need, there's multiple ways that you can get wild probiotics in you. One way is with probiotic foods that you were just asking me about. So drinks like kombucha and Kivita and
Kefir.
Kefir, thank you. Water kefir and milk kefir, they make both. That's one of the best ways to get wild probiotics. When I say wild, I mean that they're not constantly reseeding that stock with the same starter. So even better than that would be to make your own at home, because you're going to get random, who knows which species are going to get into that thing, into your body. So I brought for you tonight some kimchi, and if you would like to learn more about sharing oils, then we will stay and we will have kimchi and flax crackers, because kimchi, I made it at home. Sauerkraut, you can make at home. There's lots of different probiotic foods. It's like this huge thing I didn't even know existed. Like, we're not talking about sauerkraut from the store that is canned and heated. That's not a Dina. We're talking about something that has been cultured and never been heated to kill that culture. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can only buy that kind of thing in your grocery store in the produce section. Or you can make it, and it's so dang easy to make that it's crazy not to. Yeah, she knows how to make it.
Yeah, I know how to make all that stuff.
You can make pickles this way. You can make, my favorite is pickled pole beans. That's amazing. Pickled asparagus. That's amazing. Like, dude, you can even make pickled jelly. It's like, I know. The
Because the
possibilities are
bacteria
endless.
lives this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, jelly used to be
It doesn't
pickled.
die.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal, right?
That's how it lasted.
Yes.
Girl.
Yeah.
We gotta get together.
We're together now. We're gonna do that.
We're doing this.
Every food that you eat has some natural bacteria on it, even if it was just cooked. Like, if you leave a baked potato out or you leave a piece of pizza out, it's going to get some bacteria on it, which is good for you. Don't be afraid. Someone's going to get so mad at me because I just said that.
Just take some
Baked
Terrazine.
potatoes will kill you if they're
Just
left
take
out
the
too long.
Terrazine.
Past the 4-hour mark, you gotta trash it.
So when I say, like, probiotics that have been cultured, it's cultured for, like, an 8-hour, a 12-hour
Yeah.
period. That's healthy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Overnight.
That's
Overnight
it.
oatmeal, that's it.
That's
right.
it.
Oh yeah.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Okay, sorry. I get totally stuck down this tangent because I love it. I love cultured foods. Okay, I think there's one more thing. Oh yeah, here it is. The other thing that can make our guts just insanely inflamed is stress. Kristen started crying.
Terribly inflamed. Yeah.
Dang it! Okay, so stress, even if you're doing everything else right, if there's too much stress, there's gonna be problems. So you've got to figure out how you can reduce stress in your life, and I teach another master class on that. So hang in there for the master class. It's on stress. Until then, sniff your wild orange
And you're adopted.
and do some meditation. I know.
Kundalini yoga.
Kundalini yoga, that's right. Okay, the last organ of our digestive system is the large intestine. And there's a couple of things we can do to improve health in our large intestine. One, drink enough water. The large intestine is where most of the water gets absorbed. And if it doesn't have enough, that's where things get cakey and sludgy, and that's where we get diverticulitis and little pockets of infection. That's what that means in the colon. So, drink good water. Alternatively, you could get a colonic. If you constantly deal with infections in there, colonics and hydrocolon therapy are amazing.
And where do we go for that?
So, I go down to Kimberly.
Well, I was gonna say it had to be south because I've not heard of anything from here.
I haven't either. That doesn't mean there isn't someone, but I go clear down to Kimberly. I'll totally tag her in this video. I've done a fireside chat with the owner down there before. She uses a machine called the Angel of Water, and it's like a relaxing chair. She doesn't touch your body at all. You totally insert the tube, and it uses warm water, 10 gallons of it, and it just cycles, and you let it go, and it cycles, and you let it go until it gets farther up and cleanses your colon more and more as you go. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You're able to release pockets of yuck.
Right. I have plenty of colonics in my day.
Awesome. I love that. We're on the same channel. So her name is Connie, and her place, I'm so sorry I'm spacing on the name. It'll pop up in the video right here when I text it in there later. But it's in Kimberly, Idaho, which is down by Twin Falls. Okay. Get an appointment early. And then the last big thing with the large intestine is abdominal massage. So here's how we do abdominal massage. So anything that we're doing, we're going to add in this massage to help clean out the large intestine. And you're going to lay in bed, and you're going to take either your fist or a tennis ball, and you're going to start on the right side of by your hip bone on the right side. And you're going to come up to your belly button and go across and go down. And it's like we're doing like a little oval like that. And when you massage in deep, you can feel where there's pockets. You can feel where there's hard spots that shouldn't be hard. Nothing in this area should be really hard, like a rock. So if you can get to that spot and you can wiggle it and you can do a little bit of massage in there, you're going to help in a clockwise motion, Kristen. You're going to help push things through that shouldn't be in there, that like your bodies are ready to let go of. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is what I wanted to tell you about the entire digestive system. That's a lot of good protocols. Here's maybe what it would look like if you put together. Here's your routine. So get out your pens and scribble this down if you want to. In the morning, you're going to start with the morning tonic with the warm water and the lemon or apple cider vinegar and lemon oil and peppermint oil. That's how you're going to start your day. And then maybe you're also going to do turmeric and any other supplements that you're taking in there too. Then with your meals, you're going to either do a bitter herb before that you bite for a little bit before you eat, or you're going to do Terrazyme to help you digest the foods that you're putting in. Okay, and then at night, you're going to use an anti-inflammatory that'll work all the night while you're not eating, like copaiba, or maybe more turmeric, or maybe some just gentle peppermint. And then also if you do a bone nutrient, which we didn't even talk about this, I'll have to add a little clip about this later, but the bone nutrient, the nutrition that we need for healthy bones, it's best to take them at night. So nighttime would be the time for that. And there's also your tummy massage at night.
So what is the bone nutrient?
The bone nutrient supplement was made by Doterra, and it's
I got that.
You got this? Okay.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Tell someone else.
Let's show everybody at home.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, do you want to zoom in on it?
There we go.
'Cause this is kind of a game changer.
Okay, it's got vitamin D in multiple forms, which everyone knows is important for bone health. It's got boron, manganese, copper, zinc, magnesium, calcium, vitamin B vitamins, like what you need pretty much to make healthy bones. And all of us know that after puberty, like we pretty much start declining in our bone strength.
No. So that should be taken at night.
At night is the best time. So on here, like if you're in a state of crisis and you need some serious calcium fast, it recommends 2 tablets twice a day. I covered everything that I wanted to cover. That is like so much. I hope your brains are like exploding with all the digestive help that we just talked about. The last thing I want to tell you is if there is anything in here that you were like, oh, I totally need that, oh, I want to order that, here's the cheapest way you can get your oils. Once you have an account, you earn 25%. This is a wholesale account. You earn 25% off of retail. So if you're constantly ordering for an entire year, that gives you a good discount. It pays for itself within just the first $100 order. After you have your account, and you know that there's certain things you're going to want to use on a regular basis, or even like lavender this month and turmeric that next month and frankincense the next month, if you do set up a monthly order, which is optional with your account, you can get a kickback from Doterra, and I love this. It's literally the cheapest way. So on top of your 25% discount, you start with 10% kickback. And then after a couple of months of ordering, it moves up, and it moves up, and it moves up, all the way until you get 30% back of kickback. So you already got 25% off. Then on your order of $100, you get 30 points back, which is $30 on oils. So that's a free On Guard or a free copaiba almost.
So are they like Kimchi points?
You save them up. Yeah. So you earn 30 points. The next month you can spend the 30 points. Does that make sense? That's the cheapest way. We also give like cool freebies. Every month there's a freebie. This month is a really big deal freebie. It's called Immortelle, and it's really super nourishing oils for your skin.
Anti-aging.
Anti-aging. It's a $100 oil, and you get it free with a $200 order. So, I mean, the levels, there's always a $100, $125 freebie. There's sometimes the $200 freebie, and they're just different every month. So you just don't know until you log in and check it out, and then you're like, ooh, I want that, and you order enough to get it. That's how it works. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, it's
Okay.
a wonderful program.
Thanks so much for listening to me yak on about digestion. I hope that you experience better health after this, and I hope that you tell me if you do. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later.
Good job making it all the way through that hour-long discussion about healthy guts. Please do email me and tell me that you made it, and tell me your top digestive health concern and what you're going to do that you learned from the video about it.
And if you tell me that in an email, then I can keep track and give you credit for all of the master classes that you've done. And then you'll be able to graduate from this continuing education. Thanks so much for watching. Keep watching. More good stuff to come.